I remember at the start of this year, when I was doing those RDLs, heavy RDLs, 200 kilos for 5 sets of 5. I remember the thoughts and the feelings I would have before those sessions. I would sort of get nervous because I know that I'm going to get through some really tough work. 200 kilos, just the walkout would terrorize me mentally because it's such an uncomfortable existence to pick up a 200 kilo barbell, walk it out a few steps, and then start the RDLs. You know, in hindsight, I probably should have never done that. I should have just deadlifted the thing up. But the trouble with me and my floor deadlifts is that that's the hardest portion of the deadlift. Coming from the top to the knees or mid shin or whatever, it's so much easier than breaking the thing off the floor. So then I would kind of get stuck with that walkout. And I remember feeling having the feelings of, oh crap, here's another tough session coming up. And I would do them 2 or 3 times a week. I remember I would try to do them kind of like 3 times a week. That's kind of the goal, every other day essentially. I'm having those same feelings with these deficit deadlift sessions. They are so freaking taxing, man. They're much more taxing than the RDLs by far. I mean, I just said to you that I struggle off the floor, where this deficit deadlift business is exactly for that. It's exactly for off the floor. And so I'm kind of living in that uncomfortable spot, handling the bar so low and, grinding it all the way out to the top with a heavy weight, 220 kilos for sets of 3. So it's kind of like comparable really with the 200 for 5x5. So it's heavy ass work. And these sessions are kind of becoming just all out war sessions. I mean, when I look at the journal right now as I'm talking to you guys, it looks like I've done no work. Like there's 2 lines. In fact, today there was 3 lines, right? So I've got the deficit deadlifts, I've got the front squats, and the front squats look anemic to me. Not a lot of work there at all. I'm basically doing singles all the way up to, a training max that in the past used to be easy. No, it's tough. The only reason there's a 3rd line today is because, I did some seated calf raises. I've kind of mentioned calf raises to you guys in the last few weeks on and off. I haven't been doing them every day. I haven't been doing them all that much at all. There was one day that I did 1,000. I think a few days in a row I was kind of messing around with calf raises. But now, because these deficit deadlifts are so freaking taxing, I can't do anything, man. Like I'm literally looking around the gym and going, okay, what can I do right now that I've completely smashed my body? These deficit deadlifts are taxing me out completely. I can't squat anymore. I can't front squat, so you can bet your bottom dollar I won't be able to, front squat, back squat either. Like that's more of a back angle, right? More of spine, lumbar back action there. So when you remove these 2 possibilities out, I'm pretty much looking around the room thinking I might as well go home. I caught my eye on that seated calf raise. It's been a very long time since I last done that. And I remember, having a good experience with these things. I made a whole bunch of videos back in the day about calf raises, and I was really hot on them for a little while. The whole premise of, if you're lacking range of motion somewhere, it's probably because you have tight muscles. And if you have tight muscles, you probably also have weakness in those muscles. A tight muscle is a weak muscle. So I kind of had that approach in the calf raises kind of period, and I would smash the living hell out of them. And I reckon during that period, my foot arch, the arch of my foot would improve that during that period. I reckon my dorsiflexion improved as well. Why did I stop them? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. I would have to go back in the log and look through, listen through the videos to see exactly what the thinking at the time was. But as often the case is with me, man, it's like an evolution, right? Sometimes I have to come around to the same damn block 3-4 times before I realize what the hell is going on the block. You walk past the truth a million times, finally you trip over it and you see it. Sometimes you trip over, you don't even see it then. So it's one of those cases. Same thing with this deficit deadlifts. Haven't really spent all that time in the past at all done deficit deadlifts, but I've done RDLs and I've done good mornings, and I've been around that block many times, and I've kind of finally realized that's where the meat and potatoes of my progress is. So I got to live in that. It's uncomfortable as hell, but there probably is something to that. If you search for uncomfortable situations or you search for discomfort, you're probably going to go from it. You're scared to talk in front of people? Well, if you start talking in front of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and you keep kind of breaking that anxiety of talking in front of people, eventually you'll have 100,000 people in front of you and you'll be talking all right. But it's that discomfort that grows you. You know, if you pushed me out in front of a stage of 100,000 people right now, I'll probably shit myself as well, right? But it's that discomfort. I'm not telling you to jump in the deep end of the pool and start talking in front of 100,000 people. Not that we all can have that access, but you need to start looking at discomfort. And it's kind of one of those things that people say that carries over to many aspects of our life. You know, nobody wants to be uncomfortable. Nobody wants to feel like they're shit. We all like doing things that we are good at, that we're familiar with friendly faces around. That's what we like to do. But oftentimes, that's not where you find growth. You find growth in shit, basically, in absolute shit. Your heart's racing, your palms are sweaty. I'm thinking about that Eminem song. Knees, arms are sweaty, my mom's spaghetti, whatever the line goes like. I don't know why that popped into my head, but that's where growth is. And I think a lot of us, especially, let's say adults, right? You know, we've come out of uni, college, whatever you want to call it. We've got our job. We've kind of done the first few years. We've kind of stabilized. We've become comfortable, right? And now I don't know if you guys can attest to this and relate to this, but there are many people that are kind of like in their 40s and 50s who are so comfortable. Like they've done their job, they've learned the job, they've done all the stuff they need to do. They're comfortable in their position. They rarely get to do anything that's new to them. And they get comfortable, they get lazy, they grow a beer gut. Like, you know what I mean? All these things that are not associated with stress, right? You know, or maybe it's stress from another angle. But like when I'm thinking about myself as a kid, recess, lunchtime, running around all the time, always challenging the physiology of me. And then in high school, they would ask me to do an oral presentation in front of the class. I would literally shit myself. I don't have these moments anymore where I have to do an oral presentation in front of the class. I remember that used to be a stressor for me. You know, I mean, we don't have to do oral presentations in front of classes, but there's nothing there for a lot of us. You know, young adults, we've kind of stabilized ourselves and so we kind of get comfortable being comfortable, right? And not to say that you need to go out and become uncomfortable 24/7, but I think, you know, like I always say, man, every single day there needs to be a portion of the day. You got to think about it every morning. Okay, where in the day today am I going to have a bit of discomfort? Now, I usually reference that with the tune of physical discomfort, like going for a run, you know, jumping into a cold pool or cold shower or doing a freaking pig squat routine or doing a set of 50 or something, you know, something where you go to yourself, man, this is shit. This is where the progress is. And when I think about these deficit deadlifts, I can already feel my body going, yeah, let's not do this. Yeah, we got to do this. You know, my back was completely all right today, so no soreness. The DOMs have gone. But I feel as though the first time around I did 220 for a set of 3x3, for 3x3, I kind of felt it was moving better last time. I don't know why. Maybe I'm not fully recovered here for another day of 3x3 at that weight. Also, maybe there's a case of the fasting helped me. And I know the last video that I did where I felt dizzy as hell, we kind of spoke about, you know, the whole fasting issue and undersleeping, all of that. I still feel, and I've felt this many times before, when I have no food in my belly, like we're talking 10 plus hours of no food, no eating, right? 16 hours was the case last time. I feel stronger. I don't know why that is. Like, I feel like my ceiling is high for strength, but my ceiling for volume is like not existent. And the reason for that is, well, there's no volume because I have no reserves. I'm hungry, right? Like that's the case for that. But the reason why I feel stronger is because I can clench down on my core easier. There's nothing in my belly. There's no food in there to kind of obstruct. I don't know if that's even the right analogy, to obstruct that diaphragm from clenching down and providing that stability. I don't know if you guys have ever tried this, but have a big ass meal and then go to the garage and try and pick something up heavy. Like, I don't know, in my case, a barbell, right? You're going to feel like shit. And most of the time you might even get heartburn or you might get regurgitation because you can't clench down in a full gut. Well, if you take that to the extreme and you think about a fasted gut, nothing in there, you feel like almost it's like a natural belt, man. Like, and I'm probably unique in saying that, you know, feeling strong when you fasted. But there's definitely that playing in my mind today as I was moving through these 220. I felt like it was much harder today for whatever reason. I felt those are the weights, even though I hit the same weights, 240 and for 1 and then 220 for 3x3, same as last time. I feel like today was a whole lot of lower back action, man. I don't know. It's just how I interpreted it today. I had good sleep today, plenty of food. I rock up and I'm like, damn, man, I'm not feeling as explosive as I did last time. Maybe because my cortisol level was lower today. So this is where it gets really tricky. You know, because I was like underslept. Maybe adrenaline was pumping a little bit harder. Cortisol level was maybe high because I'm hungry. I don't know. All these things are kind of making me feel a little bit better than I really was. It was kind of masking the true state of my body. And then the weights kind of felt all right. Today, opposite. Fully fed, fully slept, all that. Rock up and I'm like, oh, do I really want to do this? So there's many things, many different ways you can kind of look at these situations. I don't know. I'm still going to put myself in these uncomfortable sessions. Right now, I'm kind of looking at maybe twice a week. I've thought about every other day, but it's way too much, man. I mean, RDLs and deficit pulls are different beasts in my kind of books. I can't tolerate deficits every other day, whereas RDLs I could. Even though that was a shit existence, the fact that it was in that top end to mid range of the range of motion, that also kind of, you know, helped me out a lot. But deficit deadlifts are it's gnarly there at the bottom, man. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Do I use quads? Do I not use quads? I don't know if you guys noticed in this video, but my hips are shooting early. I was really, really focusing to kind of avoid that, to kind of keep my legs bent for as long as possible. And the other thing I thought about was, man, I did like 2 days of like heavy freaking volume on the pull-ups. So I felt like my lats were not really all that strong today. It makes freaking sense, right? So maybe that needs to be a reconsideration of what I'm kind of doing, because the more pull-ups I do, the more disadvantage I'm going to have with the deficit deadlifts because of that fatigue. I mean, long term is going to do well for the deadlift, but if I continue to up the volume with these pull-ups, they're going to continue to kind of stifle that deficit deadlift performance. So I'm juggling a whole bunch of things here. And I'm going back to work. I've got a couple of early shifts, day shifts now. So I'll be waking up tomorrow at 4:30 and the next day at 4:30. So that's another 2 days. It's been like 5 days since the last done Ollie lifting, man. Probably even longer. See how days add up really quickly, man? You know, I do 2 days of deficit deadlifts. They freaking murder my back, my whole posterior chain. Can't do anything during that. And then I go back to work. And it's kind of like, man, time flies, man. Time flies. I look at my roster. I'm like, okay, where are the good spots? You know, how do I plan my attack? Where am I going to have a heavy session? And it's kind of like so many things to freaking kind of juggle. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Now, the other thing that happened today, I kind of woke up this morning, I had this on my mind, is the thing that I announced earlier today, which is the whole Facebook group thing. This has been on my mind for quite some time. I've got a big support, big group of people who are supporting me on Patreon. And these guys have been there for quite a long time, supporting me, supporting the channel, supporting what I do, without any extra perks, without any extra content, nothing. It's just purely of their goodwill that were doing that for me. And it's been playing on my mind a lot in recent times. And I've been kind of wondering, how do I fit in another kind of, not a commitment, but another bit of stuff that I can kind of commit to these people. I feel like I'm cheating them out. So this morning I woke up and this came into my head. I want to make a group where I can offer you guys something extra. And it doesn't have to be something that I dedicate 3-4 hours of my day. I can just do snippets, like answer a question or there, you know, Q&A videos, this kind of thing. You guys can upload videos of your squats or your deadlifts or whatever else you're doing. And I'll comment obviously on it, and I'll kind of review it and kind of give you pointers what I reckon. And then we'll have other people also kind of view it and you know, give their input. And we can kind of further, you know, progress this community. Right now I'm getting some people send me Instagram clips of their kind of form on squats and deadlifts, and I'm kind of giving input. And that's all well and good, but I always wonder, like, I wonder what somebody else reckons as well. So I mean, it's up to you guys. You guys can still send it to me privately on Patreon and on Instagram, and I can look at it myself. But I always feel like there's a lot of value in other people having another kind of perspective. I'm not going to sit here and say that I know everything. There's many different aspects and many different experiences out there. And this is why, like I said in the community post on YouTube, I said, my favorite bit is the communication, the interactions with you guys, because I also learn a lot. That's the craziest thing, man. It's not a one-way street. It's not nowhere near that. I learned so many good things. You guys always give me pointers. Actually, one of you guys, I forget the name, one of you guys saw me squatting in one of these recent videos, and you said, Ivan, your right hip hurts, right? I said, yeah. He goes, well, I reckon it hurts because of this. And he pointed out how when I come up in the squat, front squat or back squat, I don't, go straight up and then I stop there. Like, he's basically saying that as soon as I'm kind of locking out the front squat or the back squat, I'm already taking off before the completion of the rep. And he's like, if you continuously step with the left leg first, which is continuously putting this right hip in a weird position where it's kind of in a half squat, half step. And I thought, wow, that's a brilliant pickup, man. And today again, I did the same thing, right? I got to remember to kind of stop at the top and then maybe have the right leg lead for once, because there's like repetitive abuse there. I'm always doing the same stuff, and that half squatting, half stepping kind of motion is probably just wearing out the bursa or whatever else is going on. The tendons are getting upset. That's a brilliant pickup. So, I mean, and that's one of the examples of community, and so many eyes are the same kind of, topic going at it, thinking. Louis Simmons said that's why he loved training with people, because two brains are better than one. It's simple as that. It's two CPUs, two computers, three computers, five computers, thinking about the same mathematical equation, doing the same calculations, and that's the beauty of it. I've got a whole bunch of new names to mention in this video, fresh arrivals on Patreon, and now also on this Facebook group. So basically, everyone that's on Patreon will have access to the Facebook group. The reason why I did the Facebook is because Patreon is kind of clunky like that. You can't really upload videos. You can't really do a lot of these things that we want to do. I selected Facebook out of all the platforms because it's familiar to me. I know Facebook is kind of like for all the generations. There's so many other platforms right now that are more popular, let's say. There's obviously Reddit. A whole bunch of you guys were saying to me, what was the other one? I can't think of the other one. It's where all the gamers go. I think is where all the gamers go. Anyway, I looked at a few videos, and yeah, I can learn it, but I'm just unfamiliar with it. I'd rather have something that's familiar right now, even though other things might have, better, functions or whatever. I really don't want to have those growing pains right now. But I mean, eventually I might, swap over and go to this other platform or whatever. I just feel like Facebook I don't know. I'm not an expert in tech, but I feel like there's Facebook. There's the oldest freaking social media, right? Maybe with YouTube, I don't know. But those two guys are pretty much the biggest platforms in my eyes. I don't know. There's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's all these other ones that are coming up. But some of these other ones like Reddit that fill it down the list, I don't know what the user counts are, whatever. But I think most people are going to be more comfortable with the most popular one. And I know a lot of you guys are in your 20s and 30s or whatever, but there's also guys here that are in their 40s and 50s. And I feel like, I don't know how many guys will be familiar with those other ones. I don't know. We can discuss this later on. But the 6 names that I want to mention are as follows. Life as Chris Yanak, that's one of them. Ben Schewel, Michael Gilbert, Aaron Parker, Brad Van Fleet, Reed Champagne. Hopefully I said all your names correctly. Thank you, each and one of you. The support is incredible. The more names came on the list, the more I was kind of being uncomfortable not doing something for you guys. So I think this Facebook page is going to kind of do that for us. He's going to just add another element to it. And in one of the posts that I did as soon as I opened up the page was this Q&A idea. So I've popped it up there if you guys want to go on there and put down some of your questions. I'm hoping right now to do weekly Q&As. I'll find some time somewhere to just sit down and do like a raw video. You guys know my style. It's not going to be huge editing, anything like that, but I can just upload straight to Facebook, and you guys can kind of have that extra bit of content as a thank you for the support that you guys have been giving me. Anyway, enough with that black screen, guys. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning for another session. Until then, I guess I'll see you on the comments and all these other places that we've now opened up. I feel like there's so many different ones to mention everywhere. But anyway, that's it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.